Hello everyone, and thanks for joining us on the program. I'm Layo Olarinde, standing in for your regular host Amarachi Ubani. This week we still have our eyes on developments in the Israel war on Hamas. In a surprise attack, Hamas leader Ismail Haniyeh is killed. All eyes on Israel. However, Israel is not saying anything. Many predict this casts a shadow over Gaza's ceasefire deal. However, Israel has claimed the killing of Hamas military leader Deif in Gaza and top Hezbollah military commander in Beirut. We'll have more on this in a bit, as well as major prisoners freed in the biggest Russia-West prisoner exchange since the Cold War, mediated by Turkey, involving 26 prisoners and 7 different countries. Well, that's the program in a nutshell. We'll be right back after this break. The Nigerians in Diaspora Commission (NIDCOM) is advising Nigerians in the UK to ignore a statement by the Central Association of Nigerians in the UK, CAN UK, that asked Nigerians to pay $300 for passport applications fast-tracking in Britain. NIDCOM says fast-tracking of passports application is not authorized by the Nigerian Immigration Service, as it is the exclusive right and mandate of the service under the Ministry of Interior to issue, produce and fix prices for all categories of passports, whether in Nigeria or any part of the world, including UK. The Commission advises Nigerians in the UK to be calm and wait for any information on passport procedures to emanate from the Nigerian Immigration Service or its parent ministry, the Ministry of Interior. Chairman CEO Nigerians in Diaspora Commission (NIDCOM) Honorable Abike Dabiri Erewa has commended the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission (EFCC) for its pivotal role in resolving numerous fraud cases involving Nigerians abroad. Ms. Dabiri Erewa gave the commendation when she led the management of the commission to pay a courtesy call on EFCC Chairman Mr. Ola Olukoyede and its management team in Abuja. Responding, Mr. Olukoyede expressed his appreciation for NIDCOM's efforts and assured that EFCC will take immediate steps to resolve the issues faced by the Commission and Nigerians living in diaspora. He also disclosed that a lot of stashed and stolen funds from Nigeria were invested in assets across the world, adding that the Commission is working round the clock to recover such funds and plow it back into the nation's economy for national development. Outside Nigeria, Russia says that closer military cooperation between the United States and Japan looks like preparations for a large-scale armed conflict in the Asia-Pacific region. According to the Russian Foreign Ministry, Moscow is consulting with China and North Korea on how best to respond. This comes after the United States announced plans for a major revamp of its military command in Japan to deepen coordination with its allies' forces, as the two countries labeled China the greatest strategic challenge facing the region. Welcome back. We kick off with what might be considered a major shift in the Israel-Hamas war as the Palestinian group Hamas announced the death of its leader, Ismail Haniyeh. The top leader was assassinated in an airstrike in Tehran while he was attending the inauguration of the new Iranian president.
Palestinian military group Hamas says its political leader Ismail Haniyeh has been killed in Iran's capital, Tehran. Assassinated in the early hours of Wednesday, reports say the top leader was killed in an airstrike. Hamas was quick to blame the assassination on Israel. The 62-year-old is the most senior Hamas leader to be killed since the October 7th attacks. He was last seen attending the new Iranian president's inauguration ceremony in Tehran. Iran's Revolutionary Guard confirmed the death of Haniyeh hours after the swearing-in ceremony and said it was investigating it. The country also vows revenge. Meanwhile, Palestinians in the Israeli-occupied West Bank shared their shock and dismay.
The Israeli crime of assassinating Ismail Haniyeh, the leader of Hamas, will not break the Palestinian resistance or the Palestinian people's determination to achieve our freedom. But fascists are now dominating the Israeli government, and they are trying to drag the whole region into a total explosion. Netanyahu is a war criminal, and he is trying even to drag the United States itself into a confrontation with Iran and with the whole region.
But on the other hand, Israelis welcomed the assassination.
I think the assassination of Haniyeh is a great news, and I think it was supposed to happen, and I hope Sinwar will be next.
Very good news that he deserved to end it like that, and that I hope that we will get also the second of Hamas, Sinwar. I don't think it will impact on the deal. I think that it will weaken the Hamas, and that it's time for them to understand that Israel is the strongest.
I think it's good news, both the assassination of Haniyeh and the assassination of the number 2 of Hezbollah yesterday. It's good news for Israel, for the world. Hopefully it will also contribute to the end of the war and to the release of the hostages.
In the meantime, China, Jordan and Lebanon say they are deeply concerned about the assassination as they firmly oppose the incident. Reactions have also been trailing on social media as family members, Palestinian activists and public figures express their anger to the killing of Ismail Haniyeh. Qatar also strongly condemns the killing. U.S. Secretary of State Anthony Blinken says nothing shall take away from the importance of getting to the ceasefire in Gaza after learning of Haniyeh's assassination.
Well, of course, I've seen the reports, and all I can tell you right now is I think nothing takes away from the importance of, as I said a moment ago, getting to the ceasefire, which is manifestly in the interests of the hostages and bringing them home. It's manifestly in the interests of Palestinians who are suffering terribly every single day, children, women, men in Gaza who've been caught in this crossfire of Hamas's making. It's profoundly in the interest of trying to put things on a better path, not only in Gaza, but actually throughout the region, because so much is tied to what's happening in Gaza right now.
Mr. Blinken's statement also echoes those of the families of Israeli hostages captured by Hamas on October 7, as they hope a deal for the release of their loved ones will be reached in spite of this incident.
Obviously, living in a very tense region, 115 hostages have been held for 299 days. Tomorrow is day 300. But the region is suffering. Everybody in this region is, in a way, being held hostage to misguided leaders who want to take the region in a direction that is not a positive direction. Hopefully, those leaders who have a clearer, more hopeful, more optimistic sense of where this region could go, where it was going over the few years leading up to October 7th, will be the ones who went out, the voices who went out, and we can bring calm and a brighter future to everybody in the region.
In all of this, Israel has not commented on the incident, drawing fears of a wider escalation in a region shaken by Israel's war in Gaza and worsening conflict in Lebanon.
Joining us now is Osarunwe David Izebokun, consultant researcher, People of African Descent Link, PADLink in Germany. Thank you so much for your time on the program. Now, what do you make of the timing of Ismail Haniyeh's assassination right after the inauguration of the new Iranian president and around the time discussions surround a possible ceasefire deal with Hamas?
Basically, we are looking at a man who already had a well-founded and entrenched history, within the Palestinian societies and well known to the international community. Basically, in 2017, he was tagged, he was named specially designated global terrorist by the United States. So this is not just he's not a man that is unknown. He's not a pushover. He's someone that has been known both in the international community, in the Palestinian community, and also in the Israeli, community. And then on Wednesday, 2 a.m., on Wednesday, 2 a.m. in the morning, a bomb located him in his bedroom. Located him in his bedroom. And then we should understand that this bomb was not just, it wasn't a projectile. It was one that was planned 2 months before he's coming into, he's moving into, the said room. So basically, you have this situation, and this makes us understand that, see, when dealing with the Israelis, they are quite proactive. Their military proactivity is really high. And so there is something that we need to understand about their military personality, their military culture. They know what they want to do, how they want to do it, and when they want to do it.
Israel is yet to comment on Haniyeh's killing, but all eyes are on Prime Minister Netanyahu's war cabinet because he has vowed in the past to wipe out all of Hamas. Now, if this was, as many assume, an Israeli operation, why do you think it was carried out at this time, risking the ceasefire talks? Because Haniyeh was very instrumental in the ceasefire and hostage release discussions.
The truth about Israel is that they have a foreign policy. They have a military policy. They have their structure in place, and they have a history of standing against terrorism, or as we would want to say, standing against military agitation. They are in the middle of what they think or what they know as enemies. And so they have their perspectives cut out in definite and precise mannerisms. And so they understand when and how to approach issues. So basically, they will not follow diplomatic sentiments. Now, when I say diplomatic sentiments, we're talking about, we're doing peace talks, we're doing this, we're doing that, we're trying to make peace, we're having a meeting with that. So their perspective is, we're having all these meetings, but we have to do what we have to do. You get what I'm saying? So basically, just last Sunday, they had a peace talk, a new round of peace talks had begun with the Americans and the Egyptians and the Catholics, some of the Catholic senior members and all that. And it was a peace talk that everyone was looking up to, saying, "Oh, finally we're gonna have." But then, if you know, I told some of my friends, some of my colleagues, I told them, I said, "Listen, Israel will strike even in the middle of this." You see, I'd like to do a bit of analytical talking, okay? First, from what I have inferred from the Israeli foreign policy or military policy, what I have inferred is, or rather are, number one, when you attack Israel, they told him, "You're dead man walking." I believe he took that seriously. The man is well vested, in the knowledge of who Israel, the nation of Israel is, and how they operate. So I believe he knew. They called him dead man walking. So if you have been designated dead man walking and you still decided to go for an inaugural presidential ceremony within the same period that that a conflict is brewing, then he actually knew what he was getting into. So basically, the bomb planted in his room, or rather in a nearby room or whatever, 2 months before it was eventually detonated, is an indication of the proactiveness. When Israel tells you they are going to do something, they have already done it. This is my own analogy. They have already done it, and that informs their actions, because they cannot retract an action that had already been done. So when the world and everyone is putting pressure on them and all that, stop this Gaza thing, so they've done it. It's already done. It's already in motion, you know. And so I would like to put forward to you that even the bomb that went off, even if they had wanted to stop it, I believe it would have been impossible for them, to stop it.
Now, the killing of Ismail Haniyeh was in Tehran, and it's definitely a dangerous development. He's their leader, and one can say this is a big blow to the Hamas group. How do you see Hamas responding, and what exactly does this mean for the future of the group?
I really don't think that they can do beyond what they have already done. I think that basically they are going to be hinging on the Iranian military might, and they're going to be calling out to their allies everywhere they are, in the Middle East. And basically, you will see that the Middle Eastern states are literally, telling them, well, there is little or nothing we can do. We can only employ diplomacy. But I see Turkey coming in to say they will come to defend Gaza if need be. I saw the Turkish president saying that the other day. But it's more of talk. Until we see the action, then we would not be able to say. There's really nothing, completely nothing that they can do except mayhem, retaliation, and all that. And please, I would like to quickly state, everything I'm saying is basically academic. They are products of research work and all that. So I'm basically neutral in all of this. I'm only giving information as we have it.
Now, you said Israel will do what it wants to do, but then there's the international law that's supposed to checkmate every country. How do you think Israeli allies, and I'm talking the US, UK, and the West, should respond to this? We've not really gotten, any concrete comment from any one of them. And this is a major highlight because their response, I mean the response from the international community, has been somewhat mum.
One thing I'd like you to also understand is that, you see, when it comes to the allies of Israel, when it comes to the Israeli allies, like the United States, basically, holistically, the West, you'd understand that you cannot, how do I put it now? You cannot destroy or kill your baby. You can't. They created the state of Israel. They basically, morally speaking, they are bound to protect the nation of Israel because they created the nation of Israel. We all know that even the conflict in the Middle East, basically, some of the Arabian states or the Muslim states or the Middle East states, they are actually pointing at accusing fingers, at the United States, the United Kingdom, for the problems that they're facing. Basically, owing to the fact that the state of Israel was formed with understanding of the West, and so you don't expect that the West would put pressure or what I call terminal pressure, like stop this now or we do this, like if you do this, if you go beyond our rules and regulation, we have international laws and all that. If you go beyond those rules, if you cross this line, we're going to come at you like that. No, it can't happen that way. This is international diplomacy. There is international law, there is international diplomacy, and there is the realistic approach to international diplomacy in consonance with international law. So basically, what I'm trying to say is that, yes, we have international laws and we have international diplomacy, and then we have the national laws that guide the state of Israel. Now, these laws have been put in place by Israel to protect them, or rather, these laws of which emanates the military policies, the foreign policies of Israel, these have been put in place to protect the territorial integrity of Israel. October 7th was the straw that broke the camel's back. I noticed that I said that I did say the last straw that broke the camel's back. It was the straw that broke the camel's back, owing to the fact that before then, there have been several talks here and there, and then Hamas decided to strike. And so that, of course, created a perspective. It energized, it ignited a certain level of action from the Israeli side.
A historic prisoner swap between the West and Russia has taken place, and that saw the freedom of 26 detainees from 7 countries. 10 people, including 2 minors, were relocated to Russia. It also included 3 Americans held in Russian jails in the largest of such exchange since the Cold War. A massive multinational prison swap saw the release of 24 people, including Americans held in Russian jails, in the largest of such exchange since the Cold War. The deal, negotiated in secrecy for more than a year, included 16 prisoners held in Russia and 8 held in the West. Turkey coordinated the exchange, saying 10 people, including 2 children, had been moved to Russia, 13 to Germany and 3 to the United States. Also involved in the swap were Poland, Slovenia, Norway and Belarus. These are some of the high-profile prisoners involved. Evan Gershkovich, American journalist arrested in Russia last year. He was accused of spying for the CIA to obtain secrets about a Russian company making tanks for the war in Ukraine. Gershkovich, his employer, the Wall Street Journal, and the US government all denied the charges, but he was convicted and sentenced last month to 16 years in jail. The Wall Street Journal newsroom erupted in applause on getting news of Gershkovich's release. Another high-profile prisoner released is Paul Whelan, a former U.S. Marine who was arrested in Russia in 2018. At the time, he was head of security for BorgWarner, a Michigan-based car parts supplier. Moscow claimed he was a spy for military intelligence and had been caught with a flash drive holding classified information. He denies the charges. He was sentenced 2 years later to 16 years in a Russian penal colony. The U.S. grouped the Gershkovich and Whelan cases together, saying both men were being used as bargaining chips by Moscow. The third American released is Russian-American journalist Alsu Komasheva, who was sentenced to 6.5 years in a medium-security prison after a secret trial. 8 prisoners were sent back to Russia. One of the most high-profile prisoners to be released is Federal Security Service agent Vadim Krasikov, who was serving a life sentence in Germany for the 2019 murder of an exiled Chechen commander in a Berlin park. Germany's government said releasing Krasikov was not an easy decision. However, freedom for innocent prisoners outweighed punishing Krasikov.
In Russland als politische Gefangene in Haft saßen.
Other Russian detainees freed in the exchange included Roman Selenev, convicted in the US on hacking-related crimes, and the Doltsevs, a Russian family found guilty by a Slovenian court of pretending to be Argentinians for the purposes of espionage. Russia also released several jailed dissidents, including Vladimir Kara-Murza, the Russian-British national who has ties to the US, was serving 25 years in a Siberian penal colony. Russian opposition politician Ilya Yassin and human rights activist Oleg Orlov were also released, among others including Lilia Chanisheva, Kesnia Fadiyeva and Sasha Skrochinenko. The dissidents are designated by Moscow as dangerous extremists, but are seen by governments and activists in the West as wrongfully detained political prisoners. That's the program this week. Diplomatic Channel returns same time next week. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Layo Olarinde.